Souse us therefore in the powdering tub of thy mercy,
that we may be tripes fit for the heavenly table.
Welcome, Meatsmiths. You are listening to a Meatsmith harvest,
Restoring husbandry to prosperity
by the traditions of our fathers.
This dialogue picks up where we left off in our last episode's conversation. You can find part 1 on our website, YouTube, or iTunes. If the content resonates with you, please consider supporting our team by going to patreon.com/Meatsmith and donating a small monthly pledge. This goes directly toward more free media headed your way. Thanks for staying tuned for part 2.
Since we've had it, and it's been at least 9 months since the first one of us got it. Whenever we're in the winter now, because we got the summer version. There's a winter version as well, but we got the summer version, and I even get little tiny spasms of it.
Oh, really?
I mean,
yeah.
I'm way over it, but my lungs are still weakened.
Yeah.
And same thing with my oldest. Is just a common cold will send me into a
little paroxysm.
A little bit of that, or I can't quite get it out.
Yeah. So that's why it's good to go back to like what this disease, this little bug does, because what that means is the paroxysmal stage is like you're just handling the damage. This is the post-infection damage.
The catarrhal stage, the first, is when the damage is happening.
Yes. So when you have just a normal little head cold cough that you don't think is anything, that's when the damage is happening to you, and that's also when you're contagious.
Yeah.
But then the violent coughing stage, the paroxysm stage, that's your body just dealing with the damage that's there.
That's right.
And I don't even think you're necessarily contagious at that point.
Just for the first little part of it.
Just the first beginning of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should continue with what you have for us 12 days of paroxysm or...
Yeah. And then the last stage is the convalescent stage. And that's where the cough gradually subsides but may persist for several weeks. Coughing fits become less frequent and less severe. But also at this stage, susceptibility to other respiratory infections may increase. So this is where sometimes you might even get a case of pneumonia. Other secondary infections can happen at this stage because your lungs are still weakened.
They're damaged, yeah.
Right. You're not coughing a ton, but you're weakened. So you can get other things, bronchitis.
Yeah.
So but in our case, especially my oldest, because he was so unsupported for those first 2 weeks, he still has weakened lungs. I mean,
they repair. This is not permanent damage.
But it's just, okay, so what happens is in the first stage, the little bacteria is releasing toxins.
Yeah. So it's in your throat, the bacteria is, I think.
Yeah. And it gets into your lungs.
Your upper lung, yeah.
The upper lung, I think. You can look all this up. But the cilia is getting mowed down. Because
the Pertussis bacteria releases a toxin.
Yeah.
And that toxin falls down into your lungs.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, that toxin has the effect of wiping out the little hairs in your bronchial tubes, in your lungs, the cilia. And so now the internal pipage of your lungs is smooth.
Yes.
Not hairy. And the little cilia hair dooley bobs, that's what makes a cough work. So in your body, when you cough up mucus or phlegm from your lungs,
excuse me.
Case in point.
I can do one for you.
When you cough it up, the reason it comes up, the phlegm or the mucus comes up, is because those cilia are helping you out. They help you get it out. So when those are wiped out through pertussis, things don't come out.
Yeah.
Unless your body your lungs go into, that's why they continue to spasm, to get it out, this cough. Which is why you have to stay super hydrated so that the mucus in your lungs stays super loose to be able to get it out. And you kind of just need to let the cough happen because that's one of the things you can get in the paroxysmal stage,
Yeah.
the heavy coughing stage, is you'll just be hawking up a lot of mucus. And that's good. Like, you want to do that. You definitely, you want it to come up and out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I remember watching Vincent, like, it's kind of gross, but
The baby.
yeah, the baby. I wanted him to go, you can't stop the paroxysm, and you don't really want to.
No, because that's how the secondary infections happen, is if that
Yes,
mucus stays in your
stays
lungs.
and it gets funky
Right.
and infected. And so I remember watching Vincent, and it's like, okay, he's coughing, and you support him, and you'll talk about that. There's
Yeah.
ways to support infants when they're doing these coughs. So not that so that you stop the cough, but
Yeah.
so you make it effective
Yeah.
at getting stuff up and out. And I was always satisfied when I saw him, like, do a little swallow after, which is so gross, but
Yeah.
that's
I know.
like he did. He hawked it up.
Yeah.
He got
or
it
was
up.
on my left shoulder.
or it's
was
on you. Yeah.
Perpetually crusty.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's why I feel like Dominica, who's 2, she did pretty well. like,
Yeah.
with the cough, because she would lay down, and it's at night when the paroxysmal cough is the most common and intense. In fact, I feel like we'd go through the whole daylight hours with almost not a single cough.
Yeah.
Even during the intense stage. But then they lay down, and then it starts. And that's like I don't know, it's the body taking advantage of that horizontal position to help get the stuff out of the lungs, because I felt like that was effective for Dominica.
It's so different though, because like a lot of it depends on the temperament of the child and how old they are. Because like there was certain perfect storms that I think we avoided actually. Like if one of our girls, I won't say who, if one of our girls had been the 3-month-old baby, I think it would have been a lot worse because of her temperament being more anxious.
Yeah.
Vincent, the baby, is pretty chill. He's a pretty chill baby.
Yeah.
Other babies are not so chill. So we got lucky that it was him, I think, too.
Because he just would let the cough happen, or
Yeah, and he didn't
panic.
He didn't panic. Yeah, exactly.
Because that can happen when you
Yeah.
feel like you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, we never got to that point. So I'm not trying to build a case that like it's just that it made it easier for me. I wasn't dealing with a crying baby on top of a non-sleeping baby.
Yeah.
He was just not crying. It was nice. He just went back to sleep.
He'd
Wake up, cough, big spasm, big breathing. I mean, it wasn't fun,
Yeah.
but then he would go back to sleep. Whereas
Yeah.
I think like Dominica, she's pretty irascible. She's pretty
Yeah.
grab the bull by the horns, just cough, get it out, and then she'd go back to sleep.
Zonk out. Yeah, it
Yeah.
did not affect her psychology at all.
No.
How many times would you say you got up with Vincent for his coughs at night?
Every hour on the hour.
Oh, that's right.
That's
It was like clockwork.
that's how you. That's one of the indications that you know that's pertussis.
They cough every hour on the
You're
hour.
supposed to try to, when you might be suspicious that this is what you're working with, one of the ways is you get a notepad or something and you time
Yeah.
from the beginning of one spasm to the beginning of the next spasm.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at about an hour, or at least if it's regular, like every
Yeah.
50 minutes or something, that's an indication, because your
Yeah.
body is regularly trying to get out of itself. You know, it takes about an hour for the lungs to fill to the capacity that they need to start getting stuff out.
To cough. Yeah.
So that's why I just didn't sleep. I didn't. I
Yeah.
just stayed up, because for me, at least in my, I don't know, the way I am, I just couldn't go to sleep for 40 minutes and then wake up and deal with it,
Yeah.
you know? So one of the things is you get a good rocking chair, or, you know, if you have one that doesn't squeak, you know. And I would kind of drift off, you know, but I'd be awake, you know, enough. But I would just get good drinks, you know, make sure I was warm, good pillows to support me, and I would be sitting up all night.
Yeah.
And then I had good YouTube lectures, you know, prayer vigils, like whatever you got to do just to make that time yours. And then he would, so he was 3 to 5 months during, you know, it was 3 months. It was in his 3rd month where the most trying time happened.
Yeah.
And it lasted 2 weeks solid.
For him.
The heart, yeah, where like literally I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
And you were home, so we had the choice at that point, because there is some, and other moms are getting in touch with me, like they're at, like maybe their older kids have contracted it. They're like, the baby's in the house, the baby could get it. Should I get antibiotics?
Yeah.
There is some literature that supports that if you administer some antibiotics at the right time, it can
knock it out.
Yeah, well, knock it out, not knock it out, but it can make it lessened.
Right. Well, you have to get it during when the bacteria is alive stage.
Yeah.
And that is the time when you don't know if you have it.
Yeah.
Or not.
Right.
That you just think you have a cold.
Yeah.
So
some people, or like maybe you realize my situation is different. Like maybe my husband can't stay home. He's got to go to work, so he can't help me sleep. You know, or my diet. Our diet's not there, which it should be anyway. If you have this, there's no excuse for that. But you should always just try to take into consideration. Anyway, our baby was at that point. Our other kids were getting it, and we're like, we have this window. We could give antibiotics to our baby.
Yeah.
Knowing that it might lessen the severity of his cough.
That's all that they can claim.
That's all.
Yeah.
But it's not going to knock out
the cough.
The bacteria in and of itself. Mm-hmm. It just lessens the damage, I think. But vitamin C...
If you take it at the right time.
If you take it at the right time. Vitamin C is an antioxidant, which means that it neutralizes toxins.
Yeah.
And so, including the Pertussis toxin.
Yeah.
So
the thing that ruins your cilia.
Yeah, that's right.
It neutralizes that.
The bacteria doesn't. It's the toxin that they emit. So...
And the toxin is not affected by antibiotics also.
That's right.
Because it's not a bacteria, it's a toxin excreted from a bacteria.
Right. So that's why the battle of do antibiotics work or not, it almost is a moot point, because the antibiotics disrupt the bacteria.
Yes.
Not the toxin.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the bacteria already, it has emitted some toxin, so it is going to work on your lungs. Mm-hmm. It's just that how much it's going to... It's sort of a timing. It's a guessing game.
Yeah.
So
it's not guaranteed. The only thing that's guaranteed is that it will wipe out your immune system.
That's right.
And deprive you of the immunity
that
you would get by fighting the pertussis on your own.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you can administer the antibiotics, but you've also just weakened your immune system. Mm-hmm. So we chose, especially because of this article, which I know I will get out to you, but this article by Dr. Suzanne Humphreys gave me the confidence to know that you can get a baby through the whooping cough if you give them vitamin C, because vitamin C neutralizes that toxin.
Yeah, and because that's the thing that would be the most fear-inducing, and that's the thing that is most leveraged by outside forces to pressure you into antibiotics or some other treatment, is that it is dangerous for babies.
Yeah.
For little people.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
But she said even newborns. She's even had newborns.
Yeah.
And Vincent at least had 3 months in him. And he was good and healthy and...
Still a little guy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't fun. But I will also... Okay, so let's get into the different kinds of vitamin C's that were recommended by Suzanne Humphreys.
And then, wait, just to finish, like, so there's the paroxysmal stage, then there's the convalescent stage. And in total, they call it like the 100-day cough.
Right.
So this thing just lasts.
Yeah.
I mean...
It lingers.
And so this means that the kids will be, let's say they're out of the deep paroxysmal stage, but every once in a while, like for weeks afterwards, Wallace will just do the paroxysmal cough. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not contagious. I mean, it's just, it's hanging around. And then, like you already said, any cold or thing you get after that because your lungs lack cilia and they're slowly regrowing it, everything they get after that is going to be, it's going to have that same cough.
Yeah.
And that paroxysmal cough. And, but if you didn't do the antibiotics or the vaccine, because there is a pertussis vaccine, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you know that they don't have pertussis.
Yeah.
Because they have built up a very, this is the thing you get when you don't medicate with those things, with antibiotics or
Or the vaccine.
When you don't do that, you get extremely potent immunity to the pertussis bacteria.
Yeah. You pretty much won't get it again.
Yeah, you're pretty much done. It's
I mean,
like decades long.
Maybe when you're super old, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fuzzy.
And you don't get that when you knock it out
Yeah.
with the antibiotic, or attempt to. Doesn't even knock it out.
Yeah. And the thing is too, some of these books that I'm reading too, it's not a foolproof thing that the vaccine itself for pertussis is without its own risks. So you just have to weigh the pros and cons. But yeah, Wallace got it in July. It was 4th of July. It was our last big outing.
Yeah.
And then he started coughing after that. And then all through July, August, September, we were deep in it. And he was my first, so I marked time with him. And I remember thinking, like, as soon as October hit, like, I'm not hearing anything anymore from him.
Yeah.
But then October, November went by, and then we got a big cold flu thing in December, because it's winter at that point. And it didn't come back in full force, but Wallace struggled.
Yeah.
It was a struggle. Like, he even lost maybe 1 or 2 nights of sleep because it was just, it was just coughing, normal cough.
Still regrowing that cilia.
Yeah. And then we've had a month or so of health, so I haven't heard it much. But even now I have a little cough, and I can feel the that need to spasm if I don't get something out.
Yes.
And my lungs are stronger.
Yeah.
But there's it's not like it was.
Yeah.
Not like it was a year ago. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to take a full year of to fully recover, to get pre-whoop levels of strength in my lungs. I don't think it'll be, any more than that, but but also that's why when we had it, I started getting lung tea and just looking up things to strengthen the lungs. I would even eat animal lung. I feel like we haven't done that enough, to get those proteins, those amino acids to rebuild. We just haven't done it much, but yeah, it wasn't trivial.
Yeah, it was rough, and it was rough because of the loss of sleep. I think that was the biggest burden.
It really was a vigil. Once we realized what was happening, I mean, we tried a half-hearted attempt at quarantining the baby, but it was when a family of this size and this many in
our house,
we're all in the same house.
There's no way. But even then, that's what the other crazy thing about it is. Not everybody got it.
One didn't.
Johnny didn't, and I didn't.
And you didn't, you're right.
And they were definitely coughing full on in my face at night.
Yeah.
Like that was guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the middle kids, like our 8, 9, and 11-year-olds got it, it wasn't a big deal for them at all.
Yes, that's the other thing I was going to say. Thomasina literally had it for like 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah, she was our 4-year-old.
Meaning the paroxysmal stage.
So,
the really nasty stage, she was done in a few days.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it was quick with her.
Well, I think because they got the vitamin C.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Right.
She was one of the later ones to even begin the
Yeah.
little neutral cough.
Right.
But even before that, I think we
Right.
put her on vitamin C.
The 2,
Because that's the cool
4,
thing about
yeah.
treating with vitamin C, as we'll describe in more detail, is that it is non-injurious.
Yes.
You can just do it.
Yeah.
Just start. Do it now.
Yeah. It was really comparatively for this particular condition, it was a walk in the park. I don't say that lightly. I'm not trying to be flippant is what I'm saying. It's a tough thing, but comparatively speaking, for the kids that were on vitamin C
Yes.
from the beginning, from before the beginning, it was not scary at all.
Yes. Zero scariness,
Yeah.
I would say.
It
Zero.
was never scary for any of them.
Yeah.
It was just, it was hard. It was like, oh,
It was
I don't wanna say
work.
that. Yeah.
And which is, I think, what that's what you're taking on. Well, I guess it's always work. We just delude ourselves if we think it's not. But that was, it definitely took over our family to administer that much vitamin C to that many people. It was a major amount of work. It was like, did everyone get their vitamin C today? You know, with the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old, it's like we have to do at least 3 administrations throughout the day just to get the quantity in their little bodies. And that's a huge strategic, family-altering, barge-turning event.
Yeah.
Just to get the 2-year-old to drain the cup of water-soluble vitamin C.
Yeah.
It's like, Dominica, did you finish your juice? Dominica, did you finish your juice? I mean, it was...
I know.
So it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because she can't hold still for 3
Right.
seconds.
Right.
And she can't hold a cup without spilling it for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was... It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But not scary.
No.
Not scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started administering, once we knew what we had, we spent not a small amount of money on vitamin C.
Yeah.
So that's where our investment goes. But they went immediately. I took all of their weights, so it's all in the article. You can read how to do this in the articles. They'll say it much better than.
And we'll link to the article somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just start administering vitamin C to people, and she gives you some thresholds, some broad spectrum of a minimum and then a maximum. But when your body is being tried like it is, there almost is no maximum.
Yeah.
And there's some people out there that have this fear-based, like, oh, there's a toxic level of vitamin C. It's not.
Really.
There's no toxic level of vitamin C as long as you know you're absorbing it.
That's right.
And you know you're absorbing it if your digestive tract is not being disrupted by it.
That's right.
And that's called saturation.
Yeah. So when you get the runs,
Yeah.
you have maxed out on vitamin C.
Yeah.
Of what is usable for your body.
That's right.
Now your body's like, okay, that's a little much. We're just going to get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. And everything else.
Yes.
So, you don't even have to go that far.
Yeah.
If you just hear gurgling in your tummy or you're starting to be a little loose, that's it. You've reached capacity. So just dial it back a little bit, and then you can carry on at that level.
So,
at that dose.
yeah, and one of the effects of this pertussis battle in our family is that saturation is now a permanent euphemism for diarrhea. So Tourette's like, Mom, Thomasina's saturated.
That's our 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I know.
She
It's kinda
reached
nice.
saturation.
Yeah.
It's so much nicer than hearing the D word, honestly.
Yeah.
So we're we're through it. Like, yeah, we have a lot of family inside jokes now with the whooping cough.
Yes. And the link will take you to this lady's article that does tell you how you could do some calculations by body weight
Yeah.
and the kinds of vitamin C you can get and use. All the vitamin C's we use, it's literally a powder you stir into water. One is a gel, which we tried for the little guy, the 3-month-old who was not able to drink water. and for whom a bottle didn't quite work. So we went the gel route with him because we could smooch it on our finger and put it in his little mouth.
It's a packet
Yeah.
of gel.
And yeah, the suspended gel is probably not like the best thing forever, but
it's made in a lab.
It's
somewhere.
a delivery for the vitamin C.
It's non-GMO.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's non-GMO.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Purified water, ethanol, and citric acid.
Yeah, so it's got corn.
Oh, some soy, derived from soy, but it is non-GMO.
Oh, the ethanol is from soy?
No, sorry. Contains
ethanol's from corn.
Phospholipids derived from soy.
Yeah.
But not GMO. So, yeah. But the lesser of two weevils. We just decided to do this because it was the best way to get it in his system.
To get it in him, yeah.
And when you're dealing with a 3-month-old with pertussis, you do what you got to do.
You want him to breathe, yeah.
Right. So this is what really helped him. I did have 2 other ways of administering it. One was I would dissolve a little bit of the powder.
Sodium ascorbate.
So this is sodium ascorbate. This is what everyone else took.
All the big kids.
Right.
And me.
This is the best form. This is sodium ascorbate, as opposed to ascorbic acid, which is not as bioavailable or accessible or something. This is ascorbic acid, but it's not going to be the most powerful vitamin C. It is merely a vehicle to get your 2-year-old to drink your sodium ascorbate.
So the sodium ascorbate doesn't taste bad. It's almost neutral. I don't mind it. I feel like it softens water, in fact. So I still take it sometimes. But the sufficient C, that one is...
it's sweetened.
Ridiculously sweet.
Yeah.
So you put a pinch into a little 2-year-old's cup and it tastes like 100% solution of simple syrup. It is.
Yeah.
It's probably stevia.
Popsicle.
Yeah, it's
worthy.
ridiculous sweet. And that's just, like Lauren says, that was just part of the strategy to get her to drink it.
Because it's sweet and it's still healthy. It's got the vitamin C in it, but not the best kind. So we would dissolve the powder into cups and then lace it with sugar, vitamin C, and that's how we got the little kids to drink it. And we went outside and sang songs and took straws, and we just any way we could get it. Made
straws
games.
Had to be part of it.
Yeah,
sometime. That helped. Yeah.
But anyway, I used to dissolve some of this into a little bit of breast milk. So I've gone 9 kids and I've never done a breast pump, but this is what did it. I got a cheap little $20 one from Amazon, and if I have to administer something to a baby, that's the best way to do it. I would try to dissolve some in some breast milk, and then I had a syringe.
Use a syringe,
a little cheap one from Amazon as well, just a plastic one, and you just kind of put little drops in his mouth. I have a video of it I'll show too, and that was actually good sometimes, at night when he's still sleeping. I would just kind of slip some in there. I just felt like I liked having a couple different ways to get it in.
Sometimes I would have him suck my finger, so he's sucking something.
Yeah.
And then right next to your finger, you put in the syringe.
That's right.
It's just a plastic,
Yeah.
blunt-tipped syringe.
Yeah. Not like
this is not a needle.
No.
Obviously.
Some of this you would administer this by putting some on your pinky and just swiping the inside of his cheek, or like you said, the roof of his mouth. And he would kind of suck on it. But I would give him a full packet of this a day or more, because these are each 1,000. I think.
And if you look at the link, you can calculate again by body weight a rough guideline for how much to administer. You know when you've administered enough, when people have reached saturation.
Yeah.
And but the summary is it's mega doses.
It is.
For everyone.
It is.
It is
it's surprising.
super mega dose. For me, I think I did, maybe that's why I didn't get it, because I was taking vitamin C with you guys.
We were in the tens of thousands of milligrams of vitamin C.
Yeah.
Dozens of thousands.
A day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 teaspoons a day in water of sodium ascorbate for me is just like maintenance.
Yeah.
Technically, that's not even saturation.
It's about 4,000.
Yeah.
A teaspoon.
And it's kind of this neat metric, especially for little kids, because that's how you judge it. Like you kind of, when they're in the thick of the paroxysmal stage, or any time, that bacteria is in the house, in the family, you administered a lot of vitamin C and you're getting high. Like the levels are starting to get super high.
Yeah.
And they're still not having loose stool.
Yeah.
Which means their body is using all of it.
Yep.
It's using the antioxidant that is vitamin C to repair their lungs and shorten the duration of their experience. And the other thing vitamin C does is it keeps their mucus loose.
Yeah.
Which is a huge help to making their paroxysmal coughs effective at actually getting stuff up and out.
And avoiding that secondary infection.
Yeah.
Which people around us were getting.
Yes, that's right.
So.
Yeah. And so you can really avoid, or you can judge, like, when the 6-year-old starts to have some diarrhea, just back it off a little bit. But keep that level high.
Yeah.
That just means that, they've maxed out for their body weight.
Yeah.
The boar's head in hand bear I, bedecked with bays and rosemary.
How many people do you know who are building their home culture around seasonal harvest and feasting? Or that are hunting as you are for self-sufficiency and back to the land values? Or that share your artist's passion for human-scale meatcraft? At FarmsteadMeatsmith.com, we've created a community of hundreds of omnivores from around the world with these shared goals, and 2 major places for them to learn from and inspire one another. First, we have our semi-annual hands-on educational event, The Family Pig, here at our Heartland Homestead in Oklahoma. Come meet Brandon, get your elbows greasy, and over the course of 3 days, kill, cut, cure, and cook 2 pigs completely. You'll rub those greasy elbows with other meatsmiths from around the country, sharing meals and conversations to inspire you for years to come. Secondly, for more remote learning, over at FarmsteadMeatsmith.com, we host a purely digital membership program with an archive of film and textual resources 5 years deep now. And both our on-site classes and online program include access to our most unique and rewarding private community Facebook page, Meatsmith Table, which is the only international network by and for homesteaders harvesting animals on a domestic scale using traditional and regional methods. We've been told that our classes are life-changing and the membership program unparalleled in quality and quantity. To get a taste of our education, search FarmsteadMeatsmith.com and our YouTube channel for our free films, conversations, and downloads. Explore how we and other meatsmiths across the globe may best come alongside you and support you in building your home around the harvest. Please head to FarmsteadMeatsmith.com today.
Give them strong doses 3 times a day. We would do the juice time, and I would keep a rough estimate of how much they're getting. But I would also, like, their daily water was on a tray.
Yeah. And
I would prepare their water once a day. That way I didn't have to do it 6 times a day. Because that's the other thing too, is you don't want to take it all. You don't want to take your daily dose all at once. You won't absorb it all.
That's right.
It has to be metered out.
Yeah.
But administering 8 children's waters, small doses, 6 times a day, the math was getting absurd.
Yeah.
So I would create their water once in the morning. And I said, you need to drink this throughout the day, and by the end of the day, it needs to be gone.
It needs to be empty, yeah.
And that worked, roughly. Just on a practical level, it was doable.
Yeah.
And I had to redo it every morning, you know. And we'd get off, or maybe they wouldn't finish, but maybe they'd get a little more the next day. Like, I wasn't scrupulous about it. But And then once I noticed like their cough is getting lighter, then I would back off a little bit, you know. But it took all 3 months really to get through to where I didn't feel like I had to do vitamin C anymore.
Yeah. And you could keep going with vitamin C.
Yeah, I mean, we could be
at
doing
a lower
it. We should
level.
be doing it.
It's a good
kind of burned out.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the, you know, that's what bacteria or viruses even they do. They kind of hurt cells. And vitamin C is an antioxidant, so it can help them mend and repair. Right. So
if you're heading,
it's not a bad thing to just kind of, especially because it's a 100-day cough, right? To just kind of stay on it for a while. The best advice
that I was watching lots of YouTube doctors on this, regular MD doctors that were proponents of vitamin C and why and Nobel Peace Prize kind of stuff, you know, but from the 40s, so we don't listen to them anymore. And I will link to these lectures that really helped me. But one of the doctors said for every year that their child was, you give them, was it 100 or 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C? I can't remember anymore, but you'll find it in the lecture. Yeah. But it was like, but the point was a regular high dose of vitamin C for how old you are, stopping at 18, you know, because you've reached like your adult body at that point. So you just keep going. I think it was, I have to look it up. But anyway, it was helpful to know, oh, wow, we're dealing with like constant doses of, you know, if you have a vitamin, like a normal vitamin, and you look, there's probably like maybe 50 milligrams in
There's
each. There's nothing compared to what we were taking. Yeah. And we need to keep taking. I remember when we were doing it, I remember thinking, I'm going to stay on vitamin C when this is all over. And I haven't, because I'm lazy or I'm tired and I've moved on to other things in my head. But vitamin C is a really powerful agent in keeping your family healthy.
Tissues repairing. Yeah, it's an antioxidant.
But that's why also, like we say with diet, if you have whooping cough and you're taking high doses of vitamin C, don't eat a bunch of fast food either. Oh, yeah. Because that's what your vitamin C is going to be spending its time repairing.
That's right.
Is the damage done from that food.
The free radicals from the non-food food.
Right.
Instead of repairing your lungs or fighting pertussis, now that antioxidant is going to just dealing with the toxicity you just introduced.
That's right.
To your gut.
Yeah.
So it neutralizes it. Bad food will just totally neutralize your mega doses of vitamin C. Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah. So record keeping, I definitely had a notepad, or I guess my phone. I would use my phone to keep good records. So as soon as I thought I was dealing with it, I started keeping track of when these spasms would occur, and it helped me diagnose it. So I didn't feel like I never actually got a positive test from a doctor.
Right. Yeah.
You know, sort of like, well, you should get a positive test that you're pregnant. Well, I kind of know I'm pregnant. Like, you know, I don't need that, you know. So record keeping, how I got all of their weights. They each had their own page, and I would keep track of like how long this stage seems to be lasting in each one, and it helped me track. And I had a mom, God bless her. She had it like 6 months prior. Oh. From a different community, maybe, I don't know. She doesn't know, it doesn't matter. But she had all this experience behind her, and she even went with the antibiotics for their family. But she was still like my cheerleader and my support, and she checked in with me. I mean, we were texting all, you know, basically the middle of the night. She was just so good, and she was like, so how long is he in the paroxysmal stage, you know, the baby? And I'd tell her, and she gave me her records, which were really helpful. Yeah. Especially when I'm at that like 9, 10, 11 day stage. I'm like, how long is this going to last? You know? Yeah. And she's like, I think you're just around the corner, like maybe just a couple more days, because hers lasted 12 to 14 days with the baby. And anyway, when you're in the middle of that stage, it feels like you don't know if you can go on any longer. Yeah. You're really at your wit's end. And you're starting to doubt, you're starting to get nervous. Like, did we choose the right way? Is he going to get better? Is this going to last forever? And so having those records helps you keep that clarity of mind and keep things rational.
Yeah, because if you don't know that it's actually 9 days, it feels like 32 days.
That's right.
At day 9.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to know.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah, and I was going to mention, too, like with Vincent, the point was to help him cough well and effectively. Right. And there's techniques that people will kind of demonstrate online or and I think each little baby has a slightly different physiology, so what works with one might not work with the other, but basically for us we felt like we needed him to cough against something, so he needed something that his little chest and his little gut could push off of, so to speak, leverage to help the paroxysm of his cough be effective. So I think we kind of landed on, I mean, literally just holding him on our shoulder, upright, head up, so that you could really feel his belly and just below his rib cage, kind of on your shoulder.
I would lean back, and he would be almost horizontal.
Oh, okay.
So his weight was on my shoulder. Yeah. And I would actually lift up his back leg, so he was putting all of his weight on his chest, and that gave almost like the Heimlich, but instead of low, it was high. You know, it's like it would help him, because babies, they don't have the diaphragm muscles yet. Yeah. To like hock a loogie. Yeah. Yeah. But that's what you want them to do. Yeah. So I would help him achieve that. Dr. Humphreys has you put them between your legs, faced out, and kind of holding them with your hand on their chest on your hand. That never worked for me. I just made sure that I was all the way back, and I would hold him and I'd lift his legs up a little bit and help his, like the fulcrum of his body was on his chest, on my shoulder. Yeah. And he would expectorate a lot on my shoulder. Yeah. But yeah, so that is the way I helped him do that. Also, at a certain point, when he does eat, it became critical to help him burp. Oh, right. Because otherwise he would vomit. And he's not a vomiting baby. Yeah. I've had vomiting babies, and he's not. But he would vomit, and then he would start to lose weight. Yeah, during the paroxysm. So the paroxysmal cough would cause gagging, and he would burp, gurgle, vomit, everything up, and dinner would come out, and then he would just lose weight. Yeah, because he's not keeping it in. That was not fun. So he is kind of like my smallest right now. He's just starting to. He's a chunk now. He's a chunk now, but like even a few months ago, back in December, I was like, man, he needs to like beef up, and because I don't have fat babiys, I have very skinny babies. Lean babies. They're very lean. Yeah, I mean they're strong, but they're efficient. They're not going to carry on anything, their bones, that they don't need. So he started to get a little too skinny for my liking. Which just meant we had to really burp him. And even then he would still vomit, and that became the hardest part of the whole thing. Yeah, yeah. Is seeing him vomit after, and I'm not like a big producer right now because I'm old. I'm in my later fertile years. Yeah, so every drop of milk was precious, and when he vomited, it was so heartbreaking. He would vomit dinner and vitamin C. Yes, that's right. And you do all this work to get the vitamin C in him, and then he starts a paroxysm, and then it all comes out. Yeah. So that's why, for him especially, you and I mean, you obviously were doing 99% of it, but that we were both on him all the time, because it was enough just to feed him and dose him with vitamin C. But then on top of that was, we got to do it again. Yeah. He just liberated all that vitamin C. So we got to do it again. Get him in a good mood. It was depleting. Yeah. And I think that's the one thing I don't remember. People didn't have like the people in our family. They didn't have like the downcast, punky, fevery, I'm miserable and I want to die. They would get, the kids are up playing all day. No problem.
It's just at night when
At
they go
night.
horizontal.
They didn't really sleep much for
Yeah.
a few days.
So if anything, that would affect them during the day. But
The tiredness. That
Yeah.
they were tired.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that was harder on the 15-year-old because
he wanted to sleep.
he lost the most sleep.
And he definitely had the hardest infection.
Again,
without question.
right, because he wasn't supported. He wasn't getting the
He
vitamin
wasn't
C
getting the vitamin C
during his catarrhal stage,
Mm-hmm.
like the other kids were.
It wasn't until he started having paroxysms
That he
that
started
we
getting
got the vitamin C.
Yeah, because we clued in. We
Which is
started
way late.
researching. Yeah.
So his paroxysmal stage was longer than anyone, and his what are we calling the recovery stage? What is that called? The third stage?
Convalescent.
The convalescent stage. He would have paroxysms well into that, way longer than everybody else.
Yep.
By a lot.
And it looks excessive. It looks like, is he putting on a show? Almost like there's some, it just looks abnormal.
Yeah.
Like almost dramatic or something, but it's not.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do drama
He doesn't.
at all. I think it's only because I know him that I'm like,
There's
wow.
other kids that might, but
He would never pretend that. He has willed himself out of illness.
Yeah, exactly.
The way that Wallace deals with sickness is he does not acknowledge its existence.
It's
He
kind of like me.
Just keeps going
Yeah.
at 1,000 miles an hour, 100%, doing all of his projects, whatever he needs to do, and does not acknowledge that he is ill at
That's
that moment.
true. Yeah.
It kind of works a little bit. But it's so anyway, he's just the last person to put on.
Yeah.
He would never
Well, it was a little humiliating, I think.
thought has never even occurred to him.
Yeah.
He would never do that.
Yeah.
So all that to say, it is startling, or to see that paroxysm come out of nowhere after weeks, many weeks, way after the heart of the storm.
Yeah.
It's like, man, still pulling out that nasty cough, losing breath, and then catching up.
Yeah. One of the hardest parts, not just for the baby when he started losing weight, but that, I guess we talked about this with the record keeping, but the hardest part was when you're just at the end of the paroxysmal stage, the second stage, with the whooping, and you're like 10 days in, 11 days in, and it's not going away. And you're a week and a half in, and like you said, you think you're weeks in, but you just don't know. You're right on the other side of that hump.
Yeah.
It's right on the other side of that, just another day or two.
Yeah.
And that is the time where I think some people start going, I need antibiotics.
Yeah.
And that actually would make it worse.
It would.
And you're so close.
Yeah. Because the end of the paroxysmal stage is like antibiotics are useless at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will hinder the body's ability to repair, which is the next stage.
Yeah.
So
I just want to bring that up.
it's just pure exhaustion that makes you not think clearly and reach for that. It's desperation. Like you're just desperate. Oh, antibiotics. That's what everybody does. Let's just do it.
You're desperate.
It's not going to help. It'll make it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll prolong the cough.
It will. It's just hard work.
It is.
No matter how you slice it. I mean, vitamin C, like we have our remedies, but it's just the endurance. It really was a lesson in endurance, persistence, and just stay the course. We're not being abandoned. It's just hard work. Keep going. It's not scary. I never once was scared.
Yeah. That he wouldn't breathe. That's the thing that you would be scared of.
Right. That's the thing that they scare you with.
That's the banner ad
And
for fear.
I never experienced that. Yeah. It was just hard to watch your child suffer. That's the thing, is they also tell you, like, watching your child suffer is super hard.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you can help your child not suffer, great. But also, if you can't avoid it, you can't avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good lesson for me to how to pray for my kids when they're in the middle of it. And I can only do so much. And I think that reaching for the pharmaceuticals can be that escape hatch button. I'm trying to prevent my child from suffering.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually isn't going to achieve that.
It doesn't work that way, yeah.
So just making sure you're being really rational about everything.
Yeah, and I would say, excuse me, if we didn't have a baby, it wasn't that bad.
No.
At all,
No.
actually. The kids were fine all day long. They had, like we said, they just missed sleep. And I felt bad for Wallace because he was definitely hit the hardest.
Mm-hmm. And the 2-year-old was hard.
It was hard, but it didn't get her down.
No.
She wasn't sad and down or depressed or even low energy. She was.
I know, she's a spitfire.
Yeah.
She vomited a few times in bed.
That's right.
And that made it hard to like clean up. But I mean, that no more than like any other vomiting flu.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just
from gagging from the paroxysms. Yeah.
Yeah. She actually went right back to sleep.
She did. Yeah, so we didn't even always know about the vomiting until the next morning.
Yeah. I've heard of some dads, God bless them, who actually sleep in the 2-year-old's bedroom while the mom's with the baby. The dads will go be with the toddlers.
Yeah.
And he'll kind of just deal with them.
I did that a little bit, but then it just didn't. They weren't waking up. Yeah. They would do the paroxysm and then
there's nothing to do.
They would just not. They would just fall back asleep.
But I mean, yeah. Right. So sometimes in the vomit, which was not good. Mm-hmm. But we caught it most of the times. I think maybe just once we woke up and we're like, it's everywhere.
Yeah. I float up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was special.
Yeah.
We did do, one thing we should say that is part of our health package as a family is Healthy Home Economist. We have a $40 subscription. We pay that once a year. And we get to read all of her articles, which are helpful. We don't do everything she does, but as just one more point of reference. So she referenced some homeopathics.
Right.
And we got them.
We did that.
I would say it lessened the intensity of the middle kids.
Yeah. Homeopathics too are just a diligence thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more we stayed on it, then it was okay. Yeah. It helped. It did help. It was not nearly as important as the vitamin C.
Yeah.
In just neutralizing that toxin. But it overall, it lessened the severity.
Yeah. Yeah, and she'll have good nutritional support articles on there for whatever ails us these days. And this episode might get, if this episode got a lot of views on YouTube, it would get flagged for that because she's flagged all over the place.
Oh.
Yeah. She's a crazy nut job psychopath. According to the convention.
Oh, okay.
So when we mention Healthy Home Economists,
she would be flattered to hear you say that, but yeah.
It's their...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's like public crazy soccer mom number one.
Okay.
For her natural approach to health and medicine.
I just don't see that.
Her site is usually like not working very well.
Yeah.
It's attacked like all the time.
Yeah.
Which is why she had to create a private part of it to post all the things she wanted to without just being completely eviscerated online. But
we find it helpful.
Yeah. And none of these are people that we follow with 100% lockstep accuracy. No. It's just in building your philosophy of medicine and treating yourselves. It just gives you more data, more things to research and look at and look into.
Well, and part of our whole thing is, as husband and wife, you have the grace of state to do your own research and to make your own decisions, given the whole gamut of all the variables in your life. And God is not going to abandon you. And so if you have that as your first principle, then as long as you do your diligence in, learning,
do your best,
then God will provide. So I'm not going to look to anyone else, really.
Yeah.
If I'm out of my league and there's something I can't handle, like it's way beyond me, like a broken leg or something, I don't know, or brain cancer. But even then, like, diet has to play a factor.
Yeah.
You call in some experts, but you're still in charge of your kids' health. Yeah, before it started, I was trying to diet, and because I just had a baby, I was trying to exercise, and all that had to go out the window. It was a full-time job to get everyone's doses right, and make sure that they were getting it, and life was going on.
Yeah, that was the time that I blocked out to write my book.
That's right.
And that didn't really happen either.
And right before that, we had 2 bouts of heat exhaustion with another child. So we kind of got hit with a lot of health problems last year. Besides having a baby, which is not a health problem, but definitely a blip. Like it stopped life for a while. So it was a big learning curve in the amount of sacrifice that you are capable of as a parent. For me, every day, just like getting into my rocking chair every night, okay, hand me the baby. Here we go. 12 hours, and just realizing what you're capable of, again, through grace. Like, you're not capable of it yourself, but when you show up, then God supplies and He can get you through.
Yeah.
So that's our experience with pertussis, whooping cough, 100-day cough, whatever you want to call it.
And I feel like now we have vitamin C in our arsenal.
For sure.
Because we did have to do a lot of research and just gain a better understanding of what it does in the body and how it is used by the body. And I'm grateful for that. I feel like we can use it.
Yeah. Well, and what you say is true. I mean, I'll show people the lectures that helped kind of convince us that vitamin C is so powerful from a scientific perspective.
Yeah.
And that it has been squashed. We have not received that kind of information from the powers, from our education system, from the medical system. So we're trying slowly to open up those lines of communication so that we can have that in our arsenal.
Yeah.
But like you said, we don't look to any one of these people as the official person that informs our family's medical routes. It's kind of a hodgepodge, and it's a tapestry, and because some of these people will go off the deep end in one particular way that we do not agree with.
Yeah.
So it's not a catch-all, Like, sometimes the anti-vaxxers can be really draconian. Sometimes the antibiotics, they'll make you scared that if you did take antibiotics at one point in your life, that you're basically a lost cause.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just working with what it comes in front of you at that moment, and not ever giving in to fear or doubt.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and it's underneath all of that is the guiding premise that we just need to eat well.
Yeah.
Because the power of nutrition literally is that which reduces to its constituent elements the molecules, the food that you eat, and then that form disappears and it becomes you. How is that not something that affects your health? I mean, that is just the most elemental power that all living things share, is nourishment. And it stands to reason that if you're feeding things that are, it's not just, I feel like to say, you know, certain foods are unhealthy, that is a pragmatic, that's like on the pragmatic level to look at it, which is true, totally true. But the reason they're unhealthy is because they're like ontologically compromised. They're unfit, meaning they're almost not food. That's the problem. So it's more like eating, I was going to say eating plastic as if that's some great example, because we do that all the time. We eat microplastics all the time. But it's like, I don't know, it's there's a problem with being. It is unfitting. It is not, those goods aren't becoming.
Oil. Weren't we just talking about some food item that's sold out, and it's like it's the same stuff that's used for car oil?
Oh, well, no, just in general, like industrial lubricants. That's the story with seed oils. Canola.
Oh, yeah.
They press the seed oils. They were never, no one thought, because it would have been insane, that we should eat that. But then some enterprising wealthy person thought, hey, we produce a truckload of this for cheap, so let's just scent it, bleach it, cook it, and then feed it to everyone. It's not food. No one thought, no one has a tradition of eating it. This is why I think the one data point that we reject in all of our clinical medical health studies to our detriment is what our ancestors did. And I don't mean the goofy, stupid thing that people get on, like the ancestral diet. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't stand that stuff. The primitive diet. What are, and they're thinking of cavemen.
Right.
That's who they're thinking of. It's like not ancestors, for one, so that doesn't work. Also, you didn't receive that. What a traditional diet is, something that's passed down. That's what tradition means, from generation to generation. So you're actually receiving directly from prior generations. That's what makes it a tradition, not your fictional conceptualization of what you think a primitive, like primate ancestor might have eaten, which falls apart because we do not descend from primates, so it doesn't work. Sorry, no. But it's so silly that we don't look at what our grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and so on, what they ate and how they lived as a guide for our own living, because they were dumb. So they didn't have clinical double-blind studies, so they don't know anything. We do have clinical double-blind studies, therefore we can eat seed oils, microplastics, and sterilize ourselves into, extinction. And that's just so backwards. It's so dumb. And so I think you do have a really, like, a reliable, sure guide that is worth your time, worth your investment, by going to traditional cooking preparations. Literally, just go back to the way people prepared food. Because it worked. Because you're here. And you wouldn't be if it didn't. And so you just have to question the lack of questioning of the modern way of doing things. And that's what the scientific jargon that surrounds health science suffers from, fatally, I think. And so the premise, again, is just eat food that is actually food. Because, and it's so funny, we've gotten turned away from that so much that we regard things that are now not only food, but essential nutrients as, no, we don't want to eat that. Like animal fat. Solid lard. The intestines of animals.
Or salt. We were just talking about salt this morning. How
we're
important
all,
that is.
under-salinated, as it were.
Good salts.
So I think that tradition is I know I keep saying it, but that is a real earnest guide.
Yeah. And we
Like
have
Chesterton
books.
says, it's the democracy of the dead.
Okay, I was just thinking about Chesterton.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because if you've ever read, and this is a good book to read, our listeners might enjoy, The Everlasting Man. He's got an amazing way to debunk the whole idea of a caveman.
Oh, uh-huh. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's really incisive. So, just how we think a caveman was.
Right. It's so science fiction. It's like embarrassing.
It's actually really contradictory that we can think that. It's self-refuting, actually. But yeah, there's on a number of levels, it's pretty wonky. So that came to mind when you mentioned that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready. I've come to this development in my life where I don't just want to refute the evolutionary hypothesis. I want to deride it with just utter crushing condescension. It is ridiculous.
And enjoy doing so.
Yeah. It carries zero weight. It is pure science fiction. From its beginning, its inception, to the way it's conceptualized today, and the way people still hold on to it in spite of mathematics and genetics. Like, it is pure fiction. And it's bad. And that's even how it started. But that's a whole nother thing we can get into.
I know.
But eat well, and then you will heal well.
Yeah.
I think is what we're trying to say.
It's a good way to end.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sitting down with me.
Yes.
And let us know what you think about all this in the comments, or throw us questions your way. We've been talking about it for two or three episodes now, so we kind of I feel like we've given everything we can about it. But there's actually people that I know personally that call me up once in a while, and they're like throwing questions my way, as I did to my friend who gave me her experience. And so I think that's part of why also it's good to get this out there, so that if people come across it in their communities, they know that it's very doable, very manageable. So thanks for listening, and we hope that you can come back for another episode. Remember our classes that are in May coming up, and one in June as well, June 19th. But then every weekend in May we have got a class. So see if you can make it out here, and we'll meet you in person.
Love to have you.
Thank you again, Meatsmiths, for listening to our take on all things meat making, householding, and culture keeping. We hope it's helped you in growing your home around the harvest.